Hello. So I'm going to talk about this pen because it's been a journey. This is the Laban Rosa Lilac, which is an absolutely stunning, beautiful, gorgeous pen. I love it so much. But it's been a bit of a problem. So let me start from the beginning. I ordered this from Gold Spot Pens. It was 20% off, and I got an additional 5% off because it was my first order through them. Now, I first inked it up with Van Diemen's European Honeybee Eater Wing. Yes. And I started writing with it. And I got this little blob right here. That was actually my second warning sign. My first was when I opened it up, I saw what appeared to me to be split tines. Can't really see it here, but anyway. So I had recorded a video. I took some images from the video, which included the little blob as well as the close-ups of the tines, and I sent it to Gold Spot. They sent me a shipping label. I mailed it back, and I got a phone call a bit later saying it's the cartridge converter. Sorry, the cartridge converter. And we've replaced it. It's now working. And so I called Dina from customer service. Hi, Dina. Don't know if you watch these. And kind of asked her, did they look at the nib? She actually walked over to the gentleman who does the repairs, who said, nope, nib is fine. It was just the converter. We've replaced it. It's all good. So they sent it back. I got it back. I flushed it with water. I did that. And filled it with the same ink. And here's a swatch from that inking. It's lighter, which I think is really a byproduct of the water, but the line width, which was also something I was questioning because it's an extra fine, line width is relatively the same. So then I was all excited. I was writing with it, living my best Laban Rosa Lilac life. And here was my first writing experience. So it's faded, which again I think was the water, and then it gets into a slightly more saturated. You can see at the start of paragraphs, which likely was the start of my writing, it was a little bit darker in both cases here. It's easy to see when I zoom out. So there's that. I also wrote with it on this journal entry, and I started to get a little bit more frustrated with this journal entry. You can see, it's very saturated here, and then it's very light here. I literally was writing with it, and I was shaking it to get the ink to come down. So I started doing a little bit of research and doing a lot of perseverating. I'll show you as well. The other piece is I was having to take the nib and hold it down, and I would pick up the page and rub onto the paper and get the ink flowing, and then I would drag the tip into that ink, so you can see that right here and right here and right here and right here and right here, and then it would start writing. So I've got my writing samples here, and again you can see dark, light, dark, dark, light. Yeah, it just was not consistent. So Sunday, as I was falling asleep, I had this great idea, or kind of epiphany, of maybe it was the way that I filled the ink and or it was the ink. And so Monday morning I woke up, I emptied out the cartridge converter and I refilled it because I did a syringe fill with the Van Diemen's ink. And I primed it, and I tried kind of priming or pushing the ink up, and I tried pulling the converter back to get some air in there, thinking maybe the air would push the ink down. I tried all these different things, and it just wasn't consistently writing, and I was having to do that rubbing the breathing hole onto paper. And so I used a Birmingham Pen Company bottle. I dipped the pen in. I did a a converter fill. And I have been able to write about half the cartridge converter with relatively no issue. In fact, the only time I've had an issue is when writing on regalia paper. And with the regalia paper, it seems to pull the ink really quickly from the feed, and the feed's not able to keep up. So I do think there might be something with the feed on this one. I'm not sure. I would love your help. So after hearing all of this information, ooh, goodness, thank goodness it was only for 3 inches. And you can see, well, I'm actually not going to scroll through that too much. But after hearing all of this information, what are your thoughts? I am hearing or seeing on Reddit and things like that Laban is known a little bit for having a drier nib and feed with some ink issues. I didn't research that. That is my fault. But what has your experience been? Have you had an issue with Laban? Have you had an issue with the ink not flowing through the feed? What strategies have you tried? Because I really love this pen, and I'm kind of wondering if I need to contact Gold Spot and send it back again, or if maybe I need to look at having a Nibmeister take a look at it, maybe replacing the feed. I'm not sure. I'm looking for guidance. So please comment, share your experience, share your wisdom, because I really want this in my collection. All right. Thank you.